So, back in 1977, the legendary, and let's face it, pretty mysterious media theorist Marshall McLuhan sat down for a Q&A. And the stuff he talked about that night, it's more relevant now than it has ever been. We're going to unpack some of his most mind-bending ideas right from that session.
Here it is. This is probably the most famous, and maybe the most confusing, statement of the entire 20th century. I mean, we've all heard it, but what does it actually mean?
So, what was McLuhan really getting at with this? Well, that's what we're here to figure out. We're going to crack this code using his own words from that interview, and you'll see just how much it explains about the world we're living in right now.
Okay, first things first. To get any of this, you have to understand what McLuhan meant by two simple words, medium and message. And I'll tell you right now, it's not what you think.
See, from McLuhan, a medium isn't just a pipe that information flows through. No. It's a gigantic environment. It's a force that literally surrounds you and changes the very fabric of society on a massive scale.
He had a perfect way to explain this, the telephone. He said, look, it doesn't really matter what you or I say in a single phone call. That's just content. The real message was the invention of the telephone service itself, that new environment that suddenly connected the entire planet. That's what changed everything, way more than any single conversation ever could.
So if the medium is the thing that really matters, what happens when a new one comes along and takes over? Well, according to McLuhan, it literally changes who we are and how our brains work. Let's look at how he saw this with the jump from print to TV.
And this just lays it out so clearly. He described the literate man, someone shaped by books, as being able to be objective, to stand back and analyze things logically. But the TV person, totally different. They're subjective, completely involved, totally immersed in the experience. It's a whole other way of being aware of the world.
And get this, he even connected it to how our brains are wired. He said the left hemisphere is the world of print, visual, linear, logical. But the right hemisphere, that's acoustic, intuitive, all at once. That's the world of electric media, like TV. He was basically saying that these new technologies were shifting our entire culture from a left brainwave thinking to a right-brained one.
Okay, so what happens when a whole society makes a huge mental shift like that? Well, it can cause a pretty serious identity crisis. Let's dive into some of the social fallout McLuhan saw, starting with his very unique definition of violence.
Now, when McLuhan says violence, he's not just talking about throwing punches. For him, violence is a desperate search for identity. It's the act of just bumping into things, into people, into situations, trying to figure out, who the heck am I and what can I do?
He saw this quest for identity playing out everywhere in pop culture. Heroes like Superman and Flash Gordon were just ways for us to try on different identities. He even told this great story about asking his 6-year-old granddaughter what she wanted to be when she grew up. Her answer? The Bionic Woman.
So what's the other big side effect of losing this private, literate sense of self? Nostalgia. A huge, overwhelming sense of nostalgia. He argued that when electric media dissolves our old identities, we can't help but look backward with this intense longing. And his take on youth culture in the 70s was just fascinating. He looked at the jeans, the beards, the long hair, and he didn't just see fashion, he saw a clown costume. And what was the clown's job in the old medieval court? To be the only one who could tell the king what was wrong with the kingdom. It was anger and protest dressed up as style. All right, so this new electric world doesn't just change us as people, it completely rewrites the rulebook for huge cultural forces like art, advertising, and even the way we choose our political leaders.
Now there's a statement for you. He didn't say it was high art, but a corporate, popular folk art made for everyone. But why call it art at all? Well, his logic was actually pretty straightforward. From McLuhan, the whole point of any artist, whether it's a painter, a musician, or an ad agency, is to set a trap for your attention. Their job is to create an effect on you. And in that basic sense, advertising is doing the fundamental work of art. And check out how this totally flipped politics on its head. Radio, what he called a hot medium, was great for big packaged ideas, policies, party platforms, that sort of thing. But television, a cool medium, made all that stuff kind of irrelevant. On TV, it's all about the candidate's personal image. His analysis of charisma on TV was just perfect. He said Richard Nixon failed on television because he only ever looked like Richard Nixon. But a charismatic leader like JFK or Jimmy Carter, they succeed because they look like an archetype. They look like a lot of other people, so you can project yourself onto them.
Okay, this brings us to what might be McLuhan's most powerful, most counterintuitive idea of all. It's about how we can actually see what's coming next by looking behind us.
You know how we use that phrase, rear-view mirror thinking? We mean someone is out of date, they're stuck in the past. And McLuhan admitted he used to think that way too, but then he realized we've got it all wrong.
And there it is, the punchline. He realized the rearview mirror isn't about the past at all. It shows you the foreseeable future. How on earth is that possible?
Here's how it works. The mirror shows you the road you were just on, right? That tells you the structure and the direction of the road that's immediately ahead. The old environment, the very thing we get nostalgic for, it actually becomes the content of our new world. So that feeling of nostalgia, that's really a preview of the shape of things to come.
So what's the big takeaway here? Are we just helpless puppets of our technology? Not at all. McLuhan's ultimate point was a call to action. He believed that if we study and understand these hidden effects of our media, we stop being controlled by them. We can actually learn to program our environment to create the world we want to live in.
Which of course leaves us with a massive question for our own time. McLuhan was worried about TV and radio. But what about us? In this age of algorithms, social media, and AI, what are the huge invisible environments that are shaping us right now?